It's time for Mr. Pippery's new series of beginner-focused guides with Volume 1. Before you even start, Final Fantasy XIV has an interesting pool of players ranging from high-end raiders to people using it as a place to chill with friends, and you will feel welcome to Eorzea once you get the hang of things. On this edition of the guide, I'll be focusing on 5 tips to get you settled in. There is a free trial. Final Fantasy XIV offers a decent free trial, and if you haven't purchased the game already, it's a great representation of what's to come. It will dip your toes into the main story quest up until level 35 and get you accustomed to the world and its features. It does come with some restrictions, but they're mainly in place to try and reduce the bot spam activity, which unfortunately hasn't worked and might need a revision. Gil is capped at, I believe, 350,000, which is way above what you need and will likely even earn, as you're restricted from using retainers and use the market board. And what are retainers and the market board, you may ask? Well, they are linked, and I'll cover those in a future video, but at this time, it's a player-driven economy and the tools required to participate in it. Free trial players cannot use chat options, shout, yell, or tell. This relates to the bot activity from before to stop the spams. Shout is instance area wide chat, yell is a large area central to where your character is located, and tell is personal messaging, like whispers. The lack of tell may be frustrating if you're playing with a friend as you get started, but there are ways around this, such as using the chat command say, which is local to your character, Discord, or whatever PlayStation players are using for voice communication. I don't own one, so can't help you there. If you and your friend are both in a free trial and you cannot manage your own party, but you can be invited to someone who is already subscribed to the game. So if you know a friend, they can start it, but unfortunately you will not be able to. On your free trial, you'll have access to group activities where parties are automatically set up and you can participate in those, such as queuing for a dungeon or a guild hest. Guild hests are mini dungeons. There is a restriction to using the MOG letter service and shouldn't impact you in any real way until you subscribe. Now, the MOG letter services is not the same as World of Warcraft, where it's tied to the auction house and sort of general sending of items. You can do that in Final Fantasy XIV too, but I don't know of anybody that actually does that. The real use of the MOG letter service is to get your cash shop rewards and a couple of reward bits for playing the game. I don't even know if they still give those out. I think they just give those out these days. Free trial players cannot join link shells or free companies. Link shells are large player-created chat channels made for activities or socializing. Free companies are guilds. The Deep Dungeon is a group or solo if you fancy it. Instance with multiple floors, and I'll cover that in a future video as well. It is unlocked at level 17 and is a fantastic way to try out all the jobs, but you won't be able to traverse past the 10th floor of the trial, which is the first ending point. So is the trial worth it? Completely! But I feel to an extent. If you're playing with a friend, I would suggest maybe playing to level 15 or so and then making a decision on a purchase, as dungeons start becoming available by then. And if you want to tackle them together, well, one of you is going to need to buy the game. For solo players, perhaps level 20 to 25 might be enough, but by then you could be messing about with the features that are locked behind the paywall. But if you're enjoying yourself, go all the way to 35. It's designed like that. I will leave links about the free trial in the description. If you haven't subscribed to Final Fantasy XIV yet, there is a recruit friend feature which offers a 2-seater mount and a teleport crystal for the friend. That teleport crystal means the friend can teleport to your nearest location. But for you, which is far more important, you can get a circlet which increases your EXP earned whilst under level 25, which is a pretty good deal. Both of you will receive a fist bump emote. If you're starting up with a friend, it doesn't quite work as well though, because only the invited player gets the circlet. So, to circumvent this, you can enter codes from anyone who chucks it online, and you can both get your circlet. Similarly, if you have decided to give the game a shot and you're playing solo, and not met anybody quite yet, you can enter a code and have nothing to do with the host player and still get your EXP headpiece. I've added a code for myself in the description. I'm on the Lich server on the Light Data Center and looking for people to play with. That is where my main is located. I do have an alt on the Chaos Data Center, which I will be basing a lot of videos on in future. I've added a link about the Recruit a Friend campaign. If you want to read it, I would recommend you check that out. And I will also leave a link to a subreddit that has links to Recruit a Friend codes if you can't find one that works. You have now subscribed to Final Fantasy XIV. Welcome aboard. We hope you enjoy your stay and help facilitate that. There's a 2-stage authenticator offered with the game. There are 2 types. One is a keyring that costs money and is posted out to you. The second is an app for your phone that you link to your account. This is highly recommended, as with every MMO, there is a lot of shady practices, and 2-stage authentication helps defend yourself from that. As a bonus though, you'll be able to register a free teleport location on your Aetheryte list of your choice. The character you create to play this game is a massive investment. Unlike other MMOs, all your classes and jobs are tied to this one character you are creating. Practice of creating alts is a bit foreign to Final Fantasy XIV, so pick your sex, race, skin color, etc. very carefully. I'd even make a few to start so you can get a feel with each one's character movement, as you'll be seeing it a lot. As a new player in 2020, you have way more options compared to veterans, so this isn't super clear cut and super easy. Hairstyles and some minor choices can be changed often throughout via a visit to get your hair cut, similar to World of Warcraft, but the gender, race and skin color requirements will require you to purchase a Fantasia from the Final Fantasy XIV cash shop. You used to be able to get one free, and I'm uncertain if that is still true, and once I level my new character, I can confirm that later. As for your first class or job, it really doesn't matter. You'll be locked to your choice until level 10, but I haven't met many people that have stuck with what they started with, so don't worry. What does matter though is if you're playing with a friend, each class can start in one of 3 starting cities. Gladiator, Thaumaturge, Pugilist, they are in Ul'dah. Archer, Lancer, Conjurer, they are in Gridania, while Arcanist and Marauder start in Limsa Lominsa. And I'll give a shout out to my man, the Rogue, who's available from level 10 for some reason in Limsa Lominsa, since it was added later. I won't dwell too far into how the hell you play the other ones. Those are the only ones you have at the beginning of the game. Yeah, it's kind of weird. So your class has been selected, it's time to pick your data center and server. Data centers are server clusters, so pick what your friends are on, or what you like the look of, or the name you recognize from playing other Final Fantasy titles. Players can travel between servers, but not data centers, so yeah, make sure you pick the right data center. There may be servers that have an EXP boost option attached to it, and it will likely host more new players, such as yourself. This server may be locked for new player creation, and this is based at the activity at the time, so if you're playing at peak times, you might not be able to create a character on the server of your choice. You may have to log in late night or early morning. Not great, but it is what it is. Characters started on one server cannot transfer to another within 90 days. Some transfers may be free from a popular server to a less popular server, some may cost money if it's the other way around. It all depends on the circumstances of the transfer you're trying to make. Legacy servers. So, legacy servers are just normal servers. They host players who were around in the dark days of Final Fantasy XIV 1.x, and typically their raid and role-playing scenes are quite strong. However, their markets may be saturated. It depends on the kind of experience you're looking for. Ultimately, I don't think the server you pick really matters anymore these days, because if you want to go and travel to where the RP is, you just travel there. If you're based around the Southeast Asia, I believe Tombury is where the English-speaking players navigate to. I might be wrong on that, but it certainly was that a few years ago. Last tip's a quick tip. It's just about this first dialogue option you get in the game. You get a ring from this, so it matters a little bit, and I'll explain a little bit in a second. But you'll be approached with the following answers. You'll either want to gain power, win glory, amass a fortune, or nothing. If you pick a massive fortune, you'll get the crafting ring, which is actually worth something on the player-driven market board, so I would pick that, never touch it, and then list it. It might fund your next purchase or something like that for just answering the correct answer to the question. The other stats you receive from the other rings, unfortunately, have zero bearing, and you will never even notice that you are missing it, especially from that point of the game. That's it. Hopefully you're set up for starting to play Final Fantasy XIV. I want to focus on the new guys on this channel for a while. I would appreciate it if you supported these guides by subscribing, leaving a like, and hopefully commenting below. I'd love to have a conversation with you. I'd like to know what new players in 2020 are looking for. There's plenty of information sources out there, but I feel a lot of it is dated. So if anything is dated, I'll do a new one for 10 minutes and see how it goes. Maybe less than 10 minutes. Probably 2 minutes, to be honest, because it's easier. So, where the game doesn't explain something very well, any general inquiries, leave them below. I'll see you, hopefully, in the next guide. Peace.